Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we have something very different from usual. We're not going to be covering any decks. Marvel Snap has an infinite leaderboard where, in a zero sum game, players compete to be the number one player in a given season. This takes into account previous MMR, but is a way to basically give post infinite grinding some sort of purpose. Recently, there have been allegations of cheating against certain players at the top of the Infinite Leaderboard, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. The two public events thus far are for the majority of the previous season, the last season, which featured Surtur as a season pass, Luke Skywalker, also known as Walker ITA, had been fed cubes by the Italian community or by certain members of the Italian community in order to be number one on the Infinite Leaderboard. I've been noting that all month. Several days back, a bunch of posts came out from the same Italian community and a player who's a former number one player named Crazy, who both alleged with screenshots that the same thing was happening with Sizer in several of his previous victories. We're going to go through, I did some research into this. One of the things we do here on this channel is we try and create Marvel Snap content that is not only currently useful, but historically accurate and viable. I feel like it's important if we're going to play this game, if many of us invest so much time to this game, that we have a historical record, and that's what this is. So this is going to look at a timeline of the cheating allegations at the top of the Infinite Leaderboard. We'll explain why now and everything else. I'd also like to note that you don't have to care about this, right? If you're a rank 3000 player, there's limited reason to care unless you're just interested in what I think is going to turn out to be a fairly interesting story. But I also think it's worth noting that this does matter and that this is, again, a zero sum game. Only one player can be number one, and when someone does so through ill gotten means, it does damage the other players looking for that, who are, even without necessarily external reward, grinding and trying their best internally to achieve that marker. We will have proof and direct quotations both on and off the record for various accusations. Some of these are going to be wholly verifiable, and some of these are just claims. I will note the difference between the two as they come up. Unfortunately, uh, one of the parties involved seemed to have taken umbrage. Excuse me, that's the word I'm looking for. Seems to have taken umbrage with me asking these questions and has taken to various streams in order to try and harass me for asking these questions. But we will get to that when we get to it. Clearly, at the front, two parties clearly cheated. I said clearly twice, my bad, and win traded and gifted wins. There's the Italian group, self referred to as the Mafia, and Sizer. So we're going to call the Mafia throughout. I will occasionally say the Italian meta. I do not mean that every Italian Marvel Snap player is cheating. I do not mean that every Marvel Snap player is part of this or problematic. I want to be 100% clear. There is a group called the Mafia that sits near the top of the infinite leaderboard of Italian players. They named themselves, sorry. That sits near the top of the infinite leaderboard that has taken it upon themselves to manipulate various things. Sizer um, benefited from these manipulations at least once. We can verify once and asked for it several other times, but did not receive help. I'd also like to be clear that both Sizer and certain members of the Mafia are friends of mine. There's one Mafia member in particular who will come up later who was actually very agreeable and answered many of my questions and really helped me get a handle on how things went. Again, a lot of other Mafia members took to various streams to start insulting me and saying strange things because I was doing this video, which does not speak well to their character, at least in my opinion. This video will be in the interest of honesty and clarity for the community. For me, it is always better to have a record. Again, a lot of us spend a lot of time in Marvel Snap, around Marvel Snap, thinking about Marvel Snap, talking about Marvel Snap. I personally feature a lot of top decks on the Infinite Leaderboard, and I want a record of what occurred in the past, largely so that this will hopefully not continue. This will not be a witch hunt. I don't think anyone involved is a monster. This is a digital card game. I don't really care all that much about cheating. I think it is an issue that we should be aware of as players of a digital card game. However, we should keep perspective that this is not life and death. This is not people being good and bad people, ethical and like they're making ethical and unethical choices. That doesn't make them bad human beings. However, there's one thing I have to take huge issue with, and I want to write at the front after one more quick disclaimer. And the disclaimer is just a quick word on platforming and comments. Someone in the comments of this video is going to believe that they can say whatever they want about whatever member they want. If you're going to use my comments to attack others, I do not care who those others are. Their comments will be deleted. I built this platform, not you. This video is on my platform. If you want to have a fight, have fun, go to Twitter or Discord, or if you want to start a stream where you yell and scream about this, please feel free. This will not happen on my platform. One more word on monetization. I am monetizing this video. I don't expect it to do especially well. Basically, everything I do on this channel that isn't my deck guides doesn't do especially well. I'm not really worried about that. Some people are going to go in the comments and go, "You're doing this to get paid." That's fine. You can think what you want. I know what my business metrics for this channel look like. I fully expect this video to die a painful death. I cannot imagine more than 300 people actually care about this issue, but it is important, again, once more personally, that we have a record of everything in Marvel Snap. All right. Reinhard Heydrich is a Nazi. He was a high-ranking German and SS police official during the Nazi era and principal architect of the Holocaust. He chaired the 1942 Wannsee Conference, which formalized plans for the final solution of the Jewish problem, the deportation and genocide of all Jews in German-occupied Europe. And at this point, anyone reasonable who hasn't been a part of this conversation is going, "What? What are we talking about?" Um, why is this relevant? So in October, the Italian Mafia boosted a player by the username of Teflon Don to number 3 on the Infinite Leaderboard. He promptly changed his name to Reinhard Heydrich. Upon reaching number 3 and being locked into the Marvel Snap, the second dinner Infinite Leaderboard, he changed his name. He self-identified as a Nazi. Not a modern Nazi, not a political, like, we're discussing things, a person who started instigating the final solution to the Jewish question. It is my deep and abiding wish that people care as much about this type of generation spanning hatred being involved in our community as the ethics of throwing a card game. The majority of the rest of this video is going to be focused on the ethics of the card game and all the different evidence for that, because that's what all anyone is talking about. It is utterly absurd that we are willing to accept a Nazi into this card game. Second dinner, just for the record, before about the middle of the season, once I told them that Reinhard Heydrich was in their was on their Infinite Leaderboard, locked in for October, they deleted his name. I don't know if they deleted him or what other issues came up, but we as a community have, as much as Second Dinner does, and I've spoken to Second Dinner about this, I promise, we as a community have to take a stand against this. My further hope is that if you believe anything about the idea of Reinhard Heydrich is political, or that you hate anyone based on their ethnicity, gender identity, or race, you remove yourself from my content permanently. Thank you. All right, so I received this message. Sizer received this message. This is actually Sizer's. I didn't keep mine. Oops. Hey, hi. I'm writing to you about something that's been happening for 2 seasons now in the Italian Marvel Snap community. In short, they keep boosting specific players, gifting them cubes. I'm attaching some screenshots. They're in Italian, but easy to translate, and all the screenshots that you will get will be just through Google Translate. Honestly, I find it pathetic, and in my case, it's discouraging me from playing. I was ranked first in Italy for several seasons, but the last time Teflon Don received this favor, and now it's Luke Skywalker. I think the community should know about this, and I believe you have a greater reach than I do, both due to your presence on Twitch and your connections. And again, that one is to Sizer. I got who did nothing with it. He eventually sent this to me once things started blowing up. I received a very similar message. Sizer sent this to me after I talked about it in a video. This very video, the first time I talked about Luke Skywalker's #1 deck, I spoke about specifically that there were allegations that I had not had time to confirm, but I plan to look into them of cheating. I then started getting Mafia screenshots that were attacking my character for daring to look into this because apparently Sizer had done the same thing, which I wasn't aware of. So on the video from 11/18/24, I note that I was told that the Italians were win boosting Luke Skywalker, aka Walker ITA, just as they did Teflon Don the season prior. At that point, a member of the Italian community with access to their group chat reached out with proof. By 11/22, I had confirmed the accusation. You can check 11/22's video where I talk about this. I literally say you cannot only play Italian meta members or Mafia members. We didn't know their silly name at that point. So therefore, his accomplishment is still great, but I do hope that there is more ethical behavior at the top of the Infinite Leaderboard going forward in the interest of competitive nature. So 1122, the next time Luke's deck was featured, you can find it. It is the Thanos Arishem version of the Tens deck. I noted that he was being boosted and that the European meta had this type of interaction in the past, naming Sizer. No one seemed to care. I just went on with life. I noted it whenever it was mentioned, but that was it as far as I was concerned. What follows are some of the screenshots from that first batch. There have been multiple members of the community who reach out with information and screenshots. This is only a sampling. I don't want to kill you with like 1,000 screenshots, but Andrea Walker, which is Walker ITA, which is Luke Skywalker from Levi Ackerman. So the race with Sizer started with the right manipulation. It could be feasible to beat Sizer in this case. Ste, I don't know who Ste is, another member. Are we boosting Walker until early December? We understand, and then that gets fire reacts. Galasuro, who will show up many times. Go on Walker, I didn't snap or play the 10 drop on purpose. Spike Lee. But can we give the teacher a gift, please? They begin to refer to Luke Skywalker as the teacher or the master, hence the Luke Skywalker, get it, teacher or master. That is, people gift Sizer and we don't give Master Walker, which I'm seeing. Galosaurus says, I first gave away 2 cubes. All right, one more here. This is the last one I saw, but don't we have screens where Sizer asks us to gift? Shut up and don't be a pain in the ass, otherwise we'll make the whole bubble come down here, which is apparently Spike Lee's statement about what ends up happening. He made 2 top 1s with our gifts on the last day of season 1. I don't understand that last part, but the last day of the season is my assumption. Walker is pretty much doing everything himself on call with us, and this allows him to talk. So whether you consider playing as a group cheating or not, that is up to you. I personally do not. I just want to make that 100% clear. I don't see how that's terribly different than some streamers often have other top players on calls, or some streamers often have other top players in their chat helping them out with ideas. That's just a part of Marvel Snap that doesn't bother me. But what face do you come to with this? But how do you introduce yourself? The gasp would say, as apparently Spike Lee and others are very upset about the idea that Sizer had asked, and now they have this bubble of creating number 1 players that is going to collapse because this is being made public by me, and Sizer ends up taking a lot of heat for it. So we're going to continue. Uh, I asked Sizer as soon as I got these screenshots in the July season. On the last day of the season, they gifted a few cubes around, which is what I reported. I know more about how that happened, but I was unable to verify it with multiple sources. Fundamentally, he asked Geo, and Geo ended up gifting him cubes on the last day of the July season. Sizer has maintained that this is the only time he benefited, though he acknowledged asking in May when Tanjo was first placed and October to beat out Derek. Both he and Geo claim that did not end up occurring in October. I believe, again, unverified at this point, that he and Geo did end up playing together, like on a call, in order to help him achieve rank 1. It ended up being ultimately irrelevant, as between Halloween and the end of the October season, Derek had burned out for Marvel Snap and not played, and his snap points did not change. On 11/26, I discussed this with Sizer again, and ended up talking about Walker being pumped on stream. He asked if he should bring it up on stream, and my opinion is that it is generally best to always be honest. So I said, yes, be honest. I think that this is a bad practice. You shouldn't have participated in it. No one should participate in it. And it's better, it's public, and people know about it. Which is, again, I had already said this in a video. On 12/2, Sizer receives the following messages. Full disclosure, Sizer asked for my advice in the situation, which is essentially, once more, it's better to be honest and loyal than hide, cheat, and betray. There are multiple sources in the Italian group chat providing screenshots of cheating for both Don and Walker. At their request, these players will not be identified, although once they see the screenshots, it is likely the members of the Mafia will be able to figure out who these people are. Following the threats on the next slide, on 12/2, the Twitter posts were made. So, Italico messages Sizer. This is, I believe, a direct message. Sorry, I don't believe it's direct message. Hi, Sizer, do you have proof Rank 1 cheated? Yes, plenty of screenshots of his Telegram groups. Il Tatico says, we want to know who sent the screenshot. Sizer says like 4 different guys. I don't actually have 4. I think I have 3, but whatever. Il Tatico says names. Sizer says, I don't want to snitch on them. Il Tatico sends screenshots of Sizer asking for help. Sizer says he never helped me in the end. We have screenshots, names. Thank you. We have no problem with you, but we want names. Will you guys continue doing this extreme boosting next season? All I want is it to stop. This is way too much since day 1 of the season helping Skywalker. We want to know the names. We'll give you 30 minutes for names. After this, we will publish this and many screenshots. which is what ends up happening. Sizer decides, again, this is what Sizer messaged me, and at that point I said, don't give names, please. It's better that this comes out even if you end up looking bad. Honesty is better. So El Tatico releases this post. Top 1 is cheating, said Sizer. I think that's just funny. Marvel snaps Sizer. Sizer says, yo, it's that time of the month where I need your aligned support to beat Derek, if you have time, of course. This would obviously be the October season where he was competing with Derek. The answer is, that's Mafia time. I'm going to talk to the Italians. We will have an organizational meeting. So this would be, I'm just going to tell you the deleted name is very likely .geo, who is someone I still talk to and consider a friend. So I don't know for sure that that's .geo, but I have a heavy suspicion. After that, Crazy posts this, and this is, in my personal opinion, again, the worst thing Sizer does, the one that makes him look the worst, the one that went semi-viral. He asked, doing that for free? I could even make money off it. Top 1 player. Maybe someone without principles approve that. And then he tags Pokebonzi and .geo, 2 of the older Italian players who are still active in the quote-unquote Mafia. Hey, Crazy, I'm facing Tanjo for rank 1 on the leaderboard. I could use your help to beat him. I would like to make you an offer. Every 8 cube you donate me, I give back to you next season, or I'll pay you whatever that amount is for donating me 10 times an 8 cuber. I'm embarrassed I'm making this offer if you can keep it to yourself. Hi, I don't like that, so I'm going to have to say no. Okay, good, man. I was just desperate. Can you please keep it to yourself? I was embarrassed for asking. Okay, no problem. Why do you want it so badly? And then there's more conversation that was not presented by Crazy. Crazy participated in part of this conversation, then decided to block me. I will explain why and when that happens. So I was unable to get the follow up for that, which I intended to ask, but that's where we are. I was going to ask for that screenshot, but I was unable to at this point. So Sizer then released an apology. He knew this was coming. He didn't know the crazy thing was coming, I don't believe, but he knew the Italian thing was coming. So, because they had threatened him. So, I want to take a moment to address the recent allegations regarding my attempt at win trading. During a particularly challenging season, I became frustrated after holding rank 1 for 3.5 weeks and then dropping in the end to rank 2. In a lapse in judgment, I reached out to others for assistance that went against the fair play principles of the game. I understand that this was wrong, and I am deeply sorry and ashamed of my actions for even asking. I regret my past attempt to win trade. I would never do it again and will strive to contribute positively to the community. At this point, it's on Sizer to basically play as much as humanly possible on stream and not off stream so that any win trading would be in front of the entire game. I'm calling on him to do so both privately and publicly. Thus, his wins and losses will be properly publicly documented as much as possible. Is that going to be the case 100% of the time? I'm sure not. He's going to poop and play a game or whatever, right? But as much as humanly possible, his games should be public so that we can know that this practice has ended. He assures me it has. You can believe or not believe as you want. I choose to wait and see. Again, I don't think win trading makes either Sizer or Walker, who was on my stream 2 days ago, monsters. I do think it is a practice that needs to stop. At this point, I considered the matter concluded. I didn't plan on making a video. I didn't really care anymore. I got a million messages about this from Sizer, from everyone in the game, and I was just like, all right, this is done. Sizer had cheated. Italians had cheated. Hopefully, shining a light on it had put an end to this type of collusion. I then received the following messages from my primary Italian source, and again, there's more, including implicating several other Italian meta members and streamers, but at this point, we get the idea. So we're not going to target these random extra streamers who are also win trading. There's several Italian streamers who are further helping to pump Walker. It's not relevant to our major discussion. We understand at this point, hopefully all of us do, that Walker was pumped. However, the last chat of this group sent alarm bells off. Galasaurus says, my cousin, better to do it from Discord anyway. I'm currently away from home and cannot come in. I'll be back on Wednesday evening and go into DS. As soon as possible, I will give you a master. A master copy. We need to make that Austrian understand that he is a failure. Okay. Walker says to launch the ultimate Genkidama against Sizer, we also need your help. Genkidama means spirit bomb, fundamentally, just in case you are unaware. It's a Dragon Ball thing. But basically, this is Walker saying that they are going to attack Sizer. Leva Ackerman says, God Christ, if I had the grace to meet you, I would gladly give you a gift. There you go. And then Dr. Gian, which is .geo. With Frederica, more than anything, you can't complain about a collusion that you do also. And then Geo says, no guys, wait, maybe we haven't understood the power of the Mafia. Since March, those who finish top 1 write me to see if Italians can help them.
not since last month. Sizer without us is nothing. We've been in all the top ones for a year now, I think. And that .geo says, except for a couple, yes. And that one set my alarm bells off. So I do a video every month, and this month's video will be out tomorrow of the top 5 players in Infinite Leaderboard and what they played. I have the number ones for every season since March. I have the top 5 for every season since March. I actually went through all those videos, looked, took notes. So the top 1 players are the following. In March, when they claimed this begun, and April, that was crazy. The person who just blamed Sizer. In May, it was Tanjo. June, it was Zunes. July, Sizer. August, Derek. September, Derek. October, Sizer. November, Luke Skywalker and slash Walker ITA. So let's go through these as best we can. So I approached Gio to clarify the statement, and he declined to clarify that statement. We discussed it for a while, and he was like, it's taken out of context. Taken out of context. So I said, provide screenshots, show me the proper context. He did not. I'm left to believe that there is some veracity to this statement. In March, there are no credible allegations against Crazy. In April, however, Crazy was seemingly pumped without his knowledge. People gifted Crazy with 8 cubers, although he wasn't aware that that was happening, at least as far as I was able to verify. We'll get to that in the next 2 slides. In May, Tanjo's on the American server. He was not involved. We'll get a quote from Tanjo as to Sizer trying to cheat to beat him in May. Zunes was number 1 in June. He's on the Asia server. He's the 15-year-old Marvel Snap phenom who has finished number 1 twice. Sizer was number 2. So perhaps Sizer tried to pump then, but we have no evidence or citation of that from anyone, including the Italian members I've spoken to. In July, Sizer, and this is the month where allegations are accurate. This is the month where cheating occurred, as far as we can tell, at the end of the season on the very last day. In August, Derek, and Derek's quote is, I'm not a part of it. There are no credible allegations. Derek is not a streamer, but no one has claimed outside of that one half statement that Derek has ever been involved in this, so there's no reason to assume it. In October, Sizer and Geo agree no pumping. However, number 3 was Reinhardt. Both Sizer, there was an assumption that October was also a cheating season, and I believe Sizer asked, but it did not happen because they were pumping Reinhardt instead. And again, Geo and Sizer agree that there was no pumping there on fundamentally opposite sides of this. So I'm going to take that both sides that don't agree on this, saying that it didn't actually happen in October, as conclusive. Even though even though Sizer 100% did ask Geo. And then November is Luke Skywalker slash Walker ITA, which did have pumping. All right. I got some quotes from several top players, but from the American server says, maybe I'm naive, but I don't think there's any win trading in North America. If Tandra or Woody did it, I'd know. Both Derek and Barzy summarily deny any involvement. They're other members of the same group as Butt. Woody, I spoke to Husky Puppies, whose answer was fundamentally, we take too much joy in beating each other, which is the exact same argument I made to Butt. I've watched you guys all play each other. You love nothing more than beating each other, which is in the spirit of competition and how it should be, at least in my opinion. We'll talk, which is again, .geo was number 1 in January, and number 2 and 3 were 2 other Italian players, which again, like they can't pump each other if they're the whole top of the Infinite Leaderboard. It should be a competition, not a collusion based situation. So both Derek and Barzy summarily deny any involvement. I ended up speaking to Husky also, who was also like, of course not. And I didn't even ask Husky. We were mostly talking about why the Americans don't do this. Just so you know, on the American server remains, as far as I know, at this point above reproach. Crazy asked if he was aware of other instances of win trading, says, I have these messages from Sizer long ago, and the implication is that those are the only implications of win trading he's aware of. Warrior wins in March and April free of win trading. I don't know why I wrote win traded, excuse me. I didn't even talk to anyone there from their community. I just played 14 hours a day a full month. When asked about the Nazi issue, I only show people why I hate Sizer. If he asked me, he asked other people. And yes, I did speak to both the Italian community and Sizer about the Nazi issue. It has been condemned by the people I was able to speak to, although the Mafia members who I do not speak to have publicly stated that I am using the Nazi issue as a distraction from this obviously more important issue of Sizer win trading. I don't know. You can take that as you will. When asked about the claim of Italians having number 1 since March, he says, well, that's just slander, and seems to assume that it is I who am doing the slandering, and then took to Twitter to attack me for it. Sizer, the season crazy, got his second rank 1 in a row. He was gifted 8 cubes as well last second. Not planned or anything. I had that conversation with Sizer literally weeks ago, and like this was part of our first conversation about it, which is why I wasn't sure that Crazy was involved. Um, Sizer's current thoughts are, I just want the change to stop. Let them prove I am nothing without them. So Sizer now claims to have a chip on his shoulder for the that I'm nothing without them statement. Um, and are prove that Austrian is nothing without us, and would like to try and compete as hard as possible, supposedly as cleanly as possible in order to do so. Geo says Sizer only asked twice and got cubes from you the one season. Is that accurate? July and October being those 2 seasons. Although we also know he asked in the Tanjo season but didn't get boosted. I don't remember, to be honest. He asked many times, though. It happens sometimes, but when I was low rank, I was playing for fun and sometimes playing stupid and losing 8 to Crazy, Sizer, etc. Geo clarified that he was not intentionally pumping Crazy or Sizer, but Geo's low rank is like rank 50 because he's quite good at Snap. So he just didn't care about rank, and when he would see people he considered friends, people he knew, he would stay in crazy situations and pump them to 8. That leads me to the conclusion, given that Geo and Sizer were often on calls while this happened, that Sizer that in the April season, and again they confirmed this, in the April season, Crazy was being pumped without his knowledge that he was being pumped. Got any comment for Reinhardt or Walker being gifted high rank? And this is just a straight lie. I'm going to call it what it is. Geo says, maybe they're my lines. Never heard of them, which is the standard line that the quote unquote Mafia has been giving regarding the win trading situation in the Italian meta, which again is factual from their own words. Were you pumped in January? I was competing against my team in January. Top 1 me, top 2 Pogi, top 3 Luchas, Snapper, Urban, Googly, Comies, etc. And again, I wish that was the case going forward, where we could have a healthy competition instead of a colluding competition. I have seen Sizer and Walker play numerous times this season, completely clean, no stream sniping of Sizer, no other nonsense, just regular clean Marvel Snap, which means that hopefully this portion of it is behind us. Comies gives my favorite quote of all of these. Comies is the current Marvel Snap World Champion, top Marvel Snap player. Has always been no bullshit with me. We've always had a really good relationship. Sincerely, I don't give a fuck. Competing for the top 1 of this game where there are no prizes is just bullshit and a waste of time. Just have fun at the game. If you really want to compete, participate in tournaments, not this shit. Thank you, Comies. Then I finally saw this final post from Riku97, who is another player on the EU server. It says, sadly, the ranks drove people to a deep obsession, but that doesn't make them worse players, even though many people farmed rank 1 with win trades and boostings. The ones that maintain the rank on streams, surpassing stream snipe, really common, rank 100, non-existent elsewhere. I then spoke to Riku, who provided me examples of Mafia win trading going back to the end of 2023. That's not the purpose of this video. I don't want to show extra videos of, yes, this has been happening for a long time. We've hopefully proven and established. If you would like to see the video, please feel free to DM me and it can be arranged. But Italians in this meta have been win trading for rank for too long. Sizer cheated multiple times. Both of these things must stop. Final thoughts. So this is at least basically 11 months old, seemingly to the end of last year, so almost a year at this point. We don't know if it's gone back sooner. I was unable to verify, but it should 100% stop. I know of at least 2 top players, 2 spenders in Marvel Snap who have been driven off the game by this level of collusion. They both cited in their list of reasons they were leaving this level of collusion as why they were stopping, which is genuinely upsetting and hopefully not long term. It's time to leave all this stuff in 2024. Hopefully, it's time to leave all this stuff in this video and go forward with a new, clean Marvel Snap. I urge that if this continues to happen, people come forward publicly or to just tell me, let people know. This does not shine. This type of collusion does not survive when a light is shined on it. More importantly, Marvel Snap in this community is no place for hate. Nazism isn't a political idea, it's genocide and so much more important than ethics in card gaming. If you know what I'm talking about when I say ethics in card gaming, you should understand that genocide is a bigger problem. Harassment is a bigger problem. I know the focus will be on the larger part of the presentation, the collusion and cheating that took place at the top of the leaderboard. That can and I hope will disappear tomorrow. Corruption does not survive the light. Hatred, however, cannot be welcomed to this community and must be condemned by all parties involved, regardless of their level of involvement. I am hopeful that that level of hatred will be condemned going forward publicly by all members that are mentioned in this video. That's it for today. Tomorrow we will have a much lighter video where we cover the top 5 ranked players and their decks on the Infinite Leaderboard of last season. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you found this interesting and informative. Remember, stay kind, stay safe. Peace.